right, y'all. So this is
Um,
episode 34 of Manifest Mondays. Y'all tapped in with the Spot Network. 34 weeks, man. Today we're talking about millionaire mindset and what that means, what that entails. I think oftentimes people think of millionaire and they associate it with, oh, that's something I want to be, right?
Right.
Well, it all starts with mindset, you know. So that being said, I think something that kind of prompted this conversation was Ramond posted this on his story earlier. 60% of people who win the lotto lose it all in 2 years. So we had this conversation earlier. It's not just money alone that solves the problem,
Right.
right? It's,
Right.
it's
Right.
not just money. So if it's not just money, it entails a lot of other things, and that all starts with mindset. So with that being said, how do y'all feel about that?
First, let's get started. So, when I think about a millionaire mindset, for me, it's not just about the physical cash, because a fool can make a million, right? And I believe that you can make a million, not have a million mindset. So, for me, that's more than just money, right? It's about ethics, your morals, how you carry yourself, how you treat other people, right?
Mhm.
To me, that's a million dollar mindset. And also, bro, it's crazy, man. Like you said, 60% of people who win the lottery go broke, bro. I think the root cause of that is they don't have financial literacy, bro. Because like most of us growing up, those are things that we never learned in school. I don't remember. I went through college, bro. There wasn't anyone there, like anyone in my classes, like sat you down and taught you about financial literacy, like investment, all those things. Those like I believe are important skill set that everyone, bro. Like I believe that if you're a teenager, you should know those things.
Mhm.
But those are the things that we went to high school, graduated high school, even college, and we don't have that. For us, luckily, we went out on our own, we searched, and we found those knowledge, and now we're able to apply that in our life. But however, other people weren't fortunate enough to have that information, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like why you see a lot of people sometimes they'll make a million, right? It's not about how much you make; it's about how much you're able to retain. So
Mhm.
people sometimes will have that money at the end of the day from bad investment to like just living a lavish lifestyle, and they
Mhm.
lose it all and they go back to square zero, man. So I think it's all about having that financial discipline from the beginning and
Mhm.
having the right people around you too to guide you and making just good investment decision too, to be able to like grow that money.
Yeah.
Man, it's a big thing that I really feel like is something to really note on is a lot of people as they just naturally make more money, their lifestyle increases with it. You know
Facts.
what I'm saying? And it's a natural thing, right? Like, if I had this much money, I spent this much money, then I move up and, I'm making more money. People feel like I deserve to live a better
Right.
lifestyle, right? And I'm not gonna say you don't, you know what I mean? Like you do deserve to, your lifestyle does deserve to elevate, but what you don't realize is I think people always think they're gonna always be making more money or the same money that they are right now.
Facts.
And you never really know kind of like what can happen between different points of life.
Mm-hmm.
If an industry fails, if things change, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
So I think one bill that we don't like look at enough is like paying our future
Right.
self. You know what I'm saying? Like I think when we first start making money, all you know is I got $100, I can spend $100,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you really know. Like I got 100, I can spend 100. You know what I mean? But I think as you move on, you realize whatever. I think there's almost two levels. Like you have to get into like the level of first knowing like if I have 100, what can I
Mhm.
save?
Right.
And then that second level is out of the money I saved, what can I use to make more money? You
Right.
know what I mean? And I
Right.
think part of the millionaire mindset is really just understanding how the system works
Right.
and how to keep applying
Right.
it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I think when you do have a millionaire mindset, if you made a million and lost it, you can make another.
Mhm.
But like you said, a fool could make a million, and if you just
Right.
found $1 million in a briefcase,
Right.
that shit's probably gone. And I heard this cool thing that said like whatever mindset you are at, that's the only place you know how to be. So pretty
Right.
much if like you're at a $1,000 mindset, if you got $1 million, you'd probably spend it back down to 1,000. You know
Facts.
what I'm saying? And then you'd be back on like, oh man, I need to have 1,000 in my savings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same like moving up too. Like when you get to 1 million, if you found 5 million, you might go back down to 5 million until you're ready to elevate to what that
Right.
Mhm.
looks like. You know what I'm saying? So I just
Right.
think conditioning your mind and like learning stuff, surrounding yourself with people that know how to take something and make it grow is
Mhm.
important, bro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Piggybacking off of that, a, a, a key thing you just talked about is scaling, right? You know,
Right.
and surrounding yourself with people who have that mindset and are able to not just take an idea for what it is, but what it can be, you know, and it's just like, all right, like let's take this idea. I think of Steve Harvey a lot, you know, like when we talk about Steve Harvey and his relationship, um, what's the guy, Robert,
Which guy?
Kiyosaki?
That rich dad poor dad guy?
the
Robert Smith?
Robert F. Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The conversation that he had with Robert F. Smith, and he talked about just that's how Robert F. Smith. I mean, he's the wealthiest black man in America, right? And there's a reason for that. You know, when he was discussing with him, just having a conversation with him about like what he wanted to do and stuff like that, all Robert could think about was like, okay, how do we scale this? You
Right.
know, and that's how a lot of people a lot of people who have that mindset, especially of wealth and whatnot, that's what they're always thinking about is like, how do we take this and grow it? How
Right.
do we scale this up?
Right.
We made 1 million. How do we turn this 1 million into 10 million?
Right.
How do we turn 1 million into 100 million? You know, how do we turn
Right.
100 million into a billion? You know, kind of thing. But the hardest thing we all know what the hardest scale the hardest number on the scale is from 0 to 1, right?
Right.
Going from no millions to 1 million, that's the hardest one.
Fact.
After that, you know how to make $1 million, so you can replicate it again, right?
Fact.
And so I had to give a shout out to Be Easy really quick. You know, he just mentioned now that he's an entrepreneur and is in that path and pursuing his first million, and just understanding how difficult it really is, and just the admiration for people who have accomplished that. That's something that like we truly most people just aren't built for. I mean,
Right.
if we're being, you know, like it's just to have that mindset is it takes a lot. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of discipline, a lot of dedication. It just takes a lot, and so that's why often we fall victims to the system as opposed to using the system to our advantage. You know, right? Like because that's what a lot of wealthy people do is right.
Right.
They manipulate the system to their advantage,
Fact.
whereas a lot of people, especially people who look like us, they're victims to the system. You
Fact.
know, like kind of thing. They're just up there. They're a part of the system, the part that you don't want to be. You know, and so thinking about that and trying to shift your entire perspective, especially we talked about this last week. Growing up and being raised from a scarce mindset and changing my mentality to an abundant mindset has
Right.
worked, and it's something I'm still working on every day. You
Right.
know, right? It's just, man, how do I figure this out? How do I figure that out? But it all starts with mindset, and that's what we talk about all the time. It all starts with financial literacy and just understanding what that looks like for us, and shifting your mindset is a really hard thing, man. You know, especially like when you've been raised your entire life to just think one particular way. I can only think like this thus far. So that's why
Right.
point P is good and it's necessary to surround yourself with people who think differently. You
Right.
know, especially people. It's okay to be the dumbest person in the room. I think if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So
Right.
like, be open to understanding that like I could do better. You know, and so not only recognizing that you can do better, but surrounding yourself with people who want to genuinely see you
Right.
do better too.
Fact. No, I agree. I think Ramon mentioned a really good point, just talking about being able to scale. And I think it's important because I believe nowadays, I heard this really great speaker. He was talking about just over money and finance. And he said something that really resonated with me. He's like, money is a tool, it's like a hammer, right? You use that to create more tools, right? You need that to build things up, to
Yep.
create things, to bring things to fruition. However, most people who are poor have that poor mindset. They
Yep.
use money to just like, we're like consumers, right? Whenever we get paid, we just spend it out. So before we realize, whatever money that we have is gone. We're
Mhm.
not using that as a tool to be able to like create other things, right? So if you have that mindset of using money as the tool, you look at it, right? All right, I have $100, right? What can I do with this $100 right now to create more? Also, once you have that mindset, I think that's when everything changes. And we talked about earlier, bro. Like what really shifted my mindset was this book that we read. I think Ramond and I know about The Richest Man in Babylon, bro. It mentioned that whenever like just
Big
paying
gems.
yourself first, paying yourself first, bro. No matter, because most of the time we have money, we would do all the things. We would go out and pay bills, but why not just sit back and pay yourself first? So I
Hmm.
started implementing that in my life. Whenever we get paid, yeah. 1 second.
Oh, that's the gym. That's the gym, man. I could pick it up from there because that's it's such a big gym, bro. Like pay yourself first, and a lot of people I've heard that since I was like younger, but I didn't necessarily knew what that meant. You know what I mean? And what that is really just putting a piece of that aside. And what that book talks about is 10%, 10%, man. And that's I think people be thinking they got to have this huge number, but I was just picking up where you was saying, Diamond, is like
Right,
that. At something as small as 10%. If you make $1,000 on your check, just see if you can move your life around and put
right,
$100 aside
Yeah.
right,
of every check. You know what I'm saying? It
right,
seems kind of small in the moment, and sometimes you might feel like you fighting to figure out where that 10% is coming from because you like your lifestyle is like, how you be like my money's
right,
tight, but
right,
you're not really looking at why it's tight.
Yeah.
You
right,
know what I mean? We all spend money on things that,
right,
you know what I
right,
Yep.
mean?
right,
That like
right.
we don't need for
Facts.
sure. Like, so
Absolutely.
No, yeah. So whenever I did that, bro, I always, whenever I got paid, I just always put something aside. And before you realize that $100, $200 every month, if you're, and you got to be consistent, right? I think consistency, one of the things that we lack. We will start that, and then after a month, we don't keep up with those things.
Yep.
But once you start doing that over time, if you realize that they don't have $1,000, they don't have 2 grand, and then once you start to see your bank account grow for some reason, that's the motivation. Now you want to do
Yeah.
more. Now you want to save more. It's like investing. Investing. You see your account grow. You okay? I can invest a certain amount every month, and I believe by doing that over time, that's when everything just like take off. And I think
Yeah.
that's the game changer, man. Pay yourself first, because whenever we get paid, we pay our bills. Why not just pay yourself first? $100.
Yeah.
and
Because that's
first
some
too, like first heavy on the first,
right.
now when my checks come, when I get paid from something, I for sure I put that away before I pay my bills.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like before rent, I over that shit is where I put, what I'm saying, either investments or
Yeah.
savings.
Right.
Like the rent,
But
they're gonna get this rent, but I'm gonna get me
Right.
first. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
But this emphasis on the investing and saving though. We're not saying take your $1,000 paycheck and go on a $600 shopping spree.
Right.
We're not saying that pay
Yeah, yeah,
yourself
yeah.
first. we're saying
Right.
we're
No,
saying wisely.
one thing, the one thing that really helped me is to have a shift in my mindset, because when I first had my auto my car, I paid my car payment
Mhm.
for consecutive, like for like, bro, 2 years without missing any payment. And I was like, if I can make car payment every month, I can do the same for my savings. I can put $100, $200 every month, because I was consistent with paying other people. Why not being consistent with paying yourself? And I think that was a shift also.
That's
I
a
was
fact.
like, every month
Right.
now, if I'm paying Chase for my car that is that's depreciating and not bringing me any value, why not pay myself first?
Yeah.
And I was consistent with that every month, no
Yeah.
matter what. I don't care if it's sunshine, snowstorm. Whenever I got paid, I always put something aside for myself,
Yeah.
and that money just for savings, rainy days, and just because you never know, man. Sometimes things might go wrong. You might have
Yeah.
all these plans, but your car could break down, and you need money to like get that fixed. Your
Hmm.
mom, your cousin, someone that you care about might need some financial assistance, and they might count on you to be there for them. And I think that's something that we all should be thriving for.
Yeah. Absolutely. I want to tap in with a couple people here. Chevy Petty, he says saving is great.
Yeah, shout out to Jalen.
Right,
Investing and scaling is where the risk lies. Of course, absolutely. I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this a lot. A lot of people view investing as gambling,
right,
and depending on how you go about it, it can be. Like if you're investing in GameStop, that's gambling.
right,
That's a
right,
gamble, sure.
right, right,
Because there's really no technical analysis behind it. But
right,
there's a lot of technical analysis to be taken advantage of in the market. Um, it just takes learning, right? And really just investing the time, not just investing your money, but investing your time and wanting to learn how to like make this work for yourself. Because your active income income is only going to get you so far. You know, it's the passive income that you truly lean into in regards to getting generational wealth. And so I know Be Easy mentioned he asked the question, why do y'all want $1 million? I simply want to be a millionaire for multiple reasons. You know, I think the biggest one is I want to be the anchor for my family in a lot of different ways. You know, I want to be the first but not the last millionaire in my family, you know, and just creating generational wealth, like obviously being able to help more people. But at the end of the day, I think with just more money
Right.
becomes more resources, comes more ability. One of my biggest goals in life has always been to become a philanthropist. And so just being able to help people on an immense magnitude, like we talk about all the time, you got to pay yourself first, right?
Right.
You make sure that you're good first, but once I'm good, then I can make sure that everyone else is good. And so I think that's a big reason why I want not just $1 million. It doesn't just stop at 1 million, you know, like,
Right.
but I think that's the first initial figure that we're all chasing after,
Right.
right? Is that seven figure, like
Right.
really break that. But I think long story short is I've always wanted to be a philanthropist at the end of the day, and so just being able to help people on an immense scale is something that I strive for.
Yeah, I'll go, man. I would say for me, it's not just about the money per se. I want
Mhm.
freedom. And I believe the life that I want to live, freedom with my time, what I do, anytime I want to do it, for my family,
Mhm.
things that I like and care about. I think for me, that's what I want, right? Because I believe that the more money you make, it gives you freedom, especially now that we live in a world that requires money for everything, right?
Mhm.
So to be able to be free, not clocking in, being able to do whatever I want, traveling the world, doing whatever I want. I think that's for me, and that's why it makes the most sense for me, freedom.
Yeah.
And like Z says, not just one meal, right? And I want to be fly when I'm having freedom too. You know, freedom of style. And also like to give back, man, because I believe there are a lot of things I want to do back home in Africa and my family to take care of them. So yeah, for sure. And I'm willing to put in the work for that. And it's just one life to live. Why not make the best experience while you're here?
Yeah.
And enjoy the things that you want to enjoy, travel where you want to travel, take care of the people you love and care about, and then give back to the community. And so that's my reason for sure.
Mhm.
And real quick before I answer it, I want everybody in the chat, man. If y'all in here, y'all answer it too, man. Everybody wants $1 million, but why do you want it? You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Right.
That's actually a dope
Yeah.
question, man.
Why
Um,
in there?
and shout out to Jalen, man. He Barry been telling me Chevy Petty that he knows a bunch of stuff about credit investing, man. So he's
Right.
definitely somebody to tap into, man.
Shout
So
out.
we got to chop soon too, man. But for me, man, I mean, y'all pretty much took all the good answers, brother. I'm mad I went third, but the biggest piece is I think for me, of course, it's like I'm I'm naturally I feel like I'm a giver. I love to like help create opportunities for different types of
Right.
people, right? That's one of the biggest things for me that I just love doing. I don't know what it is about me, but I just love like kind of putting other people in position and um I've been finding a lot of fun, even getting the knowledge of getting 1 million. You can put other people in different type of positions to know what they can do with their own. But um, like I, 1 million is a figurative figure to me of just what I mean of just wanting to like free myself from just having to work. You know what I mean? I think we start talking about like figuring out what these numbers are, really just to free ourselves, like really just to like you almost want to get money so you don't have to worry about money.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
Like I don't, we don't know what that feels like to not have to worry about money. You know what I mean? It's a thought every time we get up. And maybe it's just built into us a little bit from like the Western way of thinking and just being living here. And maybe that's always gonna be in us a little bit of just wanting to kind of level up. But you want to get to a place where you're not worried about it. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
just like I wake up and it's like what I mean? Like shit could go really really bad and I'm gonna be good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I kind of like this concept of like just higher lows and higher highs in your life, right? You want to be able to reach higher highs, but when you fall, you want that next low to be better than your last
Yeah.
low.
Facts.
Like there's certain things in your life to be like, there's I get even a little specific. When me and Z went to Europe, You know what I mean? We was kind of like paying bills in Europe and paying bills out here. And I got to a point when I got back, man, I was broke as shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It
Like
wasn't,
just down. You know what I'm saying? And
it
that
Damn.
kind
wasn't
of messes with your mindset a little
Vermont.
bit.
It wasn't just Vermont. We was
We
broken.
was down bad. I didn't want to put your business out there, brother, but we was down bad. You know, we was down bad, bro. And you know what I'm saying? And like there was just a conscience, like a constant decision in my mind where I was like, bro, I will never be back to this level again.
Facts.
I'll never be back to this level again. You know what I'm saying? And then around that time, my mom told me something too. She was just like, I never let my savings or investing get under a certain level. And once I can carry that for an amount of time, I want to level up what that level is.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's really just that cushion, man. So I just want my lows to be higher as I move on, just to be comfortable, and then just to be able to just help more people to, you know what I mean? I feel like if you help people now, you're gonna be helping more people with more money, and it's just
absolutely.
natural, man. I want to create experiences, I want to create opportunities, and just
Hmm.
yeah, man. Like I said, the number is figurative, but the truth is like there's things that I want to do that just require more access, and access sometimes requires more money. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More money, like is I'm not gonna say money solves all problems, but like
Most of the problem,
money
90% of mine.
money would solve
90,
99
98.
problems right now. Is what I'm saying. So it's not the end all be all. It obviously takes more than money itself to truly change your life and create a lot of the things that we want to create as far as like freedom and generational wealth and all that stuff. Is money a piece of that? Yeah, absolutely. But there's like it's more powerful. It's deeper than that. You know, obviously that's a big reason why we referenced it earlier. There's a lot of people who hit the lotto and go broken. You know, a number
Right.
of years, as little as 2 years.
Right.
You know, like there's a lot of celebrities and athletes who make all these millions of dollars. You know, playing sports and doing whatever. You know,
Right.
acting. You know, playing video games and all this stuff, and then end up going broke. You know, like
Right.
so it's more than just money itself. Money itself is not the end all be all. But
Right.
when you have a deeper reasoning for it, a deeper purpose,
Right.
that's truly like make it um, something of longevity. You know,
Right.
and I think that's something we're all trying to do. We're all trying to create generational wealth, right? You know, like I said, I want to be the first millionaire in my family, but not the last. You know, like
Right.
I want to make sure like we all set up for success. And I think that starts with us, right? You know, like changing our mindsets, and then we pass that knowledge on, right? You know, we talked about not ever gatekeeping knowledge and whatnot. Like I think I always found it weird that people just want to like keep all the information and access to themselves, and it's just like, nah, bro. Like at the end of the day, we can help our people, we can help each other, you know. And
Right.
so, yeah, man, it's there's a lot to it, but
First, I just want to say shout out to Q Baby. He was like, I want it because I know God gave me the mind to get
yeah,
it. So if I don't get it, I feel like I'm not living to my true potential. Love it.
yeah,
$1 million mind,
that's it,
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh, and
And
shout out to Isaiah too. Isaiah gave you a shout out, DJ. Just
uh,
saying you supported his brand, you know, when you didn't have to. So shout out to him. And he also said he wants to be a millionaire because he wants freedom of time and family support, you know,
love
like
it.
kind of thing.
Love it.
Absolutely.
And there's a gem that BE's dropped in there too. I don't know if everybody caught it, but $1 million life insurance policy is only $100 a month.
Yep.
Facts.
I saw,
Stuff to think about, man.
Right.
yeah.
It's really stuff to think about, man. It's like I think I read in this book that said we a lot of people overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we could do in a decade.
Yep.
Right.
So really, just sometimes you gotta just think a little bit more long term on how I can get to this goal that I'm trying to get to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
Right.
you know,
And for me,
for sure,
the
bro.
goal is just not a million, man. The goal is to either reach that amount and keep going, keep going, just keep going. It's like a game, right? You go, okay, if I
Yeah,
beat this level, I want the next level. And I
that's a
believe in
fact.
order to like progress to the next level, you need to learn because now if you made a million, now you have $1 million mindset. Now if you want to make five, eight, 10, you need to create a whole new mindset
Hmm.
to be able to like pull that off, right? And one thing I also learned too is like most of the time it's easier to achieve certain things then after a while we're unable to keep those things. So like you see, right, it's like customer you're able to get the clients, but are you able to retain them over a long period of time? And I see like when Z mentioned earlier, like athletes and stuff going broke, right? They was able to like make millions of dollars throughout their career.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe the retention process wasn't good because they wasn't able to keep that. And by keeping that, there are a lot of things that comes with it, right? You got to have to hire the right people, invest in the right ideas, you know, because I think someone earlier mentioned in a comment, they were like, yeah, investment is risk. I believe that's true. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing for me is like what changed my mindset was like, man, life is a risk. Me waking up
Yep.
today, like I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like the entire process of life is a risk. So for me, it's about how can you like maybe get your rates right? What are some things that you can do if you're going to an investment? Making sure you learn about what you're investing in. Don't just put your money into stuff you have no idea about, right? We saw that during the pandemic, right? Dogecoin, people were just like throwing money in there, all those everything, right? Without having any understanding of that. And in the day, you will lose it. And sometimes we have this we want to get rich quick, and sometimes we'll make like dumb decision. We just put money in things out hoping that those investments just gonna like 10, 20x and we're gonna be rich. But it doesn't always work that way. Most of the people who are rich, bro, they became rich by slow and steady progress.
Yep.
You know, like yeah, we seen like the get rich quick kids, right? Or people who bought like GameStop when it was like maybe $5 and sold like three, you know. There's like those things are anomaly, one in a lifetime opportunity. It's not really gonna happen, right? But
Mm-hmm.
over time, people who are steady, invest consistently over a long period, those are the people who become rich. And I feel like for me now, and that's the path I'm going to take because I believe that there's no shortcut to getting rich. It's going to be a grind. But
Yeah.
if you're steady, if you're able to retain whatever you got going on over time, you're going to get there, man. Most of the time, we just get discouraged along the way because we're not seeing results. So you just got to just stay
Yeah.
consistent, having the right people around you, learning about investing. Because nowadays, we have all the knowledge at our disposal. We can just do the research and learn to figure things. Whatever you want to learn, you can learn on YouTube,
That's a
online.
fact.
Everything is
Yeah.
out there. Like
Every,
you learn about trading, Ramon. I learned about how to like analyze a company financial by pretty much YouTube and reading books, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Everything you want to learn is out there. You can equip yourself with the knowledge that can put you in a better position.
Yeah.
And I think like the mindset's important. I think once you create a strong mindset, it's easier for you to like accumulate and attract wealth into your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you just said, the first person that came to my mind was Warren Buffett, bro. You know, Warren Buffett was 56 years old when he became a billionaire, bro. Like that's
Right.
you know, most people would have given up by like, you know, 40. Like they're like, hell no. Like if it's just not meant to be, you know. And sometimes I think I think it takes a lot of belief. I think it takes a lot of grit, you know, to obviously like not just invest in, you know, to learn and stuff like that, but also to see it through
Right.
until you know, to see your vision through to the end. That's something that is resilience is something that can't be taught, man. You know, and so that's something that I value a lot too. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Three Life Crew. You know that them boys be podding over there at Three Life Crew, so I wanted to give a
They
shout
probably
out
be
to them. They
looking clean as hell too, boy. Our production game is crazy, boy.
them boys
Y'all
be
boys be podding, boy. Shout out, man. We're gonna have to do a collab pod one day
You
or
have
something.
to.
You know what I mean?
but shout out to them for tapping in. A million ain't enough. Clearly, we know we ain't stopping at a million. But what's the best investing book or YouTube that you've seen or used to date?
I
Um,
Let's all drop one.
I
mhm.
would say for me, the intelligent investor is a little bit dry, but it has a lot of knowledge into that. I mean, it's kind of like hard to read, right? It's like finance, but that's a really great book to like start with. And another good book just about personal finance is like um, the Millionaire Next Door. Since we're talking about million, the Millionaire Next Door, you just talk about how average Americans are able to make millions just by some of the things we were talking about. Those are like really two good books to like get started with.
That's fire. I'll go with we always talk about it, man. But it's just I think it's the perfect book to just get started, man. But The Richest Man in Babylon, man, it's
Mhm.
just the perfect one to like switch the mindset of not only saving 10% of what you got, but it says make every dollar your slave, right? That makes more it just masters to make more money. You know what I mean? So I say The Richest Man in Babylon is one of mine, and then I just finished this book called Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins.
Mhm.
Um, And
Oh
that was like a great book on like long term. That thing is like a Bible though. So set some time aside. I thought I was gonna read hella books this year, but it took me, that thing was like 700 pages, man. So it took me a couple months to get through it. But that was it's like a great book on like long term investing and like kind of just looking at different things around you and like switching the mindset to be able to see where good investments are or where you can cut back to, invest differently, how to pivot your money in a different position. So those would be my two. I'll post them in here too.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I added one to that. Yeah,
yeah,
those are really.
uh,
I mean, the Holy Grail of investing. I'm actually listening to the audiobook right now. Is a good one
yeah.
too. So you should definitely check that out.
And I think I'm gonna tap in with what Marco said, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's the one. That's the one. Um, I think that's kind of like that's a good. I think Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good place to start for anybody who's interested in investing.
Yep.
That's just a really good first. So, but I just got a book called The Tao of Trading, which is like learning how to be successful in any market condition, regardless of how the market is performing. So I'll be sure to tap in and I'll circle back with y'all on that one. I'm really looking forward to that. But I'll keep y'all posted on that one. And then we had another question in here. Isaiah said, hold on, let me see if I can share it. Can y'all see that?
Yep.
What's the question?
Yeah. Do y'all invest in stocks or real estate? If so, what was the process in getting started with long-term investments? That's a good question.
I can see the
He
question
said,
there.
he said, do y'all invest in stocks or real estate? If so, what was the process in getting started with long-term investments?
Oh,
Y'all probably know more about real estate than me.
mm-hmm,
So I'll let you, but I'll start with stocks,
mm-hmm,
Right.
right? The quickest story ever, man. I remember it was 2020 and we all was getting a stimmy, right? And I was working at this company. I was working at this company and this dude said it was like my manager at the time. He came to me and he was like, I'm thinking about throwing the stimulus check into some airline stocks because airline stocks is down because people can't fly during this time. And I was like, damn, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? So I got my stimulus check and I literally just copied this move, man. I was just like, man, I just got on Robinhood, which is a brokerage account. So that would be my first step is get a brokerage account. Webull, Robinhood is the easiest one, but then there's TD
Right.
Ameritrade. There's better ones than Robinhood, but Robinhood is the easiest one. So get on one of those brokerages accounts and I just put it in airline stocks. I don't necessarily suggest that, but like the easiest way is to get into what's called index funds, right?
Right.
Or ETFs, and all that is just like it's like a basket of different
mm-hmm,
stocks, right? So there might be like a tech ETF, which just means that it's like a whole bunch of tech stocks in one thing.
Right.
So it's easy. You could just put like $100 on that ETF, and you might be investing in Apple, Microsoft,
Right.
Amazon, all these stocks at the same time. So a safe bet is to get into one of these ETFs and you
Right.
don't have to think about which company do I need to
Right.
invest in. And you know what I mean? So the easiest place to start, I feel like, is just, get into a brokerage account and then just look at those ETFs and index funds that can, pretty much, is like a basket of different stocks at the same time.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that's my first steps with stocks.
No, yeah, and also to add on that, I think the reason ETF is important, right? Let's say you buy Apple stock, right? If Apple is not performing today, that individual stock is going down. However, with ETF, you have other stocks that are part of the ETF. So if Apple is not performing well today, you have Tesla. If Tesla is part of that ETF, Tesla might be good. Nvidia, other company, Microsoft. So at the end of the day, it's less risky because at the end of the day, you're not just
yep,
gonna going up and down. It's more stable.
mm-hmm,
And that's one of the things I've done. I've transitioned more from buying individual stocks to more like ETF and like long term because they are less risky. And how I got into stocks, it was actually in 2018. The girl I used to date, I think her friend was a stock investor, and he was telling her about buying certain stocks and just investing overall. And then she told me about it. I remember I downloaded my Robinhood, bought a few shares in like Snapchat and like Twitter. And then, because I didn't know what I was doing, I just bought the stock, right? And
yeah,
then after a while, Twitter, I think went up like $20, and I made like $200. I thought I made a lot of money, and I sold everything, and I got out. And then during COVID, I was bored, and that's when I actually started learning more about investing, like reading, like taking my time to like actually understand. And that's when I really got into like investing in stocks over long term. But like I said, for now, I'm mostly long term in like ETF. I'm trying to like shy away from like individual stocks. Most of my overall bigger portfolios now in ETF.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot safer that way.
That brings up a good story of mine too. Like, so I think most people, at least I can say for myself, I got started with Robinhood. Robinhood was doing a pretty much like if you refer somebody, like you get a free stock and the person who referred you got a free stock. So a lot of people were obviously they were incentivizing people to hop on their platform, right? So that's how I ended up finding out about investing as well. It's simple DG. Somebody put me on to it. I'm pretty sure it was actually Austin who put me onto it. He was like, "Yo, like you should like look into like this Robinhood," and I was like, "All right, I'll look into it." They're like, "Yo, you'll get a free stock," and I'm like, "All right, bet." Like, cool. Tell me why my free stock was Berkshire Hathaway. You know, like my free stock was like, ain't that crazy? Like that's
Like a fraction
That's
of
insane.
the share. Cause how much are
my
they?
stock was Berkshire Hathaway. I sold it. Like I wish I kept it, you know, but I sold it. Um, but that was so wild to me that I was just like, oh, this is. I was. It's funny because I saw the name Berkshire Hathaway, and I was like, why does this sound familiar? And
Yeah,
then I
Warren Buffett company.
Warren Buffett's company. I was like, bet. Like I was like, I knew it sounded familiar, but you brought up that story. You reminded me of that. That's how I ended up getting into investing too. Was through Robinhood. But anyone who knows me, and when it comes to long term investing, I'm very extremely bullish on real estate, man. I
Right,
love real estate. Um, you know, depending on what market you're in, you're gonna yield about 6 to 10%, really just depending on like where you're at. Um, but having owned a couple of homes to date now, and you know, with the desire to purchase more, and just like obviously acquiring land and stuff, I think th- getting into real estate is a lot simpler than people make it seem. You know, I think a lot of people overthink it, and a lot of people just kind of like underestimate the resources that are out there and available to people too. I know a big thing that I looked into when I started looking at buying a home was, okay, like I don't know if I can come up with like $40,000,
right,
you know, to put down a home right now. So let me see what other options I have available to me. And first time home buyer programs are something that, like, you know, people
right,
should be, if they're not, and if they don't know, they need to be taken advantage of, because there's so many first time home buyer programs out there that exist. The home that I bought in Colorado, that was through a first time home buyer program. I only had to put
right,
down the home that I bought in Texas, I had to put nothing down. It's literally zero down out of my
right,
pocket. I got into it for free, pretty much. Obviously, it wasn't free,
right,
you know, like massive loan attached to that. But literally having to come out of pocket for nothing to get into a home is something that's so powerful, motivating, you know. And it's just like, what a lot of people don't know, I'm gonna give y'all a gem too, is you qualify to be a new home buyer every 2 years. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think I've already bought a home, so
right,
I don't qualify as a new home buyer. You qualify as a new home buyer every 2 years, so you can take advantage of multiple different programs, if you can, you know. So
right.
uh,
Is it two
that being,
years after you buy, like after you buy and sell the house, or is it like
no, just
how's
have
that?
to buy. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if
after
you
I
buy the
bought,
house, could you buy a second house in 2 years under that program?
now, I don't know about under the same program.
For a newer program, you got to use another
Damn, that's
program.
crazy.
Like
Yeah,
there's
But you
multiple
can buy a second house under a new
right.
home
Another,
buyers program after
right,
2 years.
right,
Gems,
right.
fellas.
Yeah,
Everybody who's in
I
here,
didn't know
man,
that. I
gems.
just
Boy, I
learned
didn't.
something
Yeah,
new.
yeah.
I thought you had to sell the house and you'd be a first time again, but nah, you can buy other houses. That's crazy.
Yep. So,
But Z, I'm gonna get out and then get back in. For some reason, I'm not seeing any comments or whatever, so I'm gonna get out and then get back in.
but yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and really, it's really just about like learning. Google searches, I think that's a big thing. Is just like I'm just always like, all right, like let me figure this out. Google knows all, right? You know, so when it comes to real estate, I think that is one of the safest investments that you can make, um, especially for long term. You're just like looking to hold and sit on equity and not necessarily. If you're looking to set it and forget it, that's the perfect way to do it. Is real estate, because real estate is something that it's an asset, so you're always going to have that asset until you sell it, right? But also there's so much that you can do with it, right? You can keep it, you can rent it out, um, you can flip it if you sell it. You can do a cash out refi and take out money uh, to capitalize on your investment thus far.
Right.
Still keep your home, and so there's just a lot of things that you can do
Right.
with real estate and moves that you can make to freak it to where it could just like be obviously something that's life changing. So, like I said, anybody who knows me knows I'm very bullish on real estate, and um, that's a huge goal of mine. I want to be a real estate mogul at some point.
Right. Right.
Property and hell of land, but we're getting there, baby steps, baby.
Right. Like, yeah, for me, that's something I'm still learning about, right? I bought a house, but I'm not right now. I'm not like a real estate investor, and
Mhm.
that's something I've been learning about, reading more about, making sure I have enough understanding before I, get into it. But I think this it's lucrative. It's lucrative. I have friends who are doing it, and so far, but I think it just takes time, right? It's one of those things that you have to have that long term mindset, and most people will not. Oh, how can I get cash flow right away?
Yeah.
It's one of the things that is going to take time, right? If you have that long-term mindset, long-term perspective, then that's something really good to get into, and that's something I'm going to get into.
Hmm.
I already got my first house. By the end of this year, I'm getting my second home. That's something I'm in the process of doing right now.
Yep.
Get in there, yeah, one step at a time. So
Shout
yeah,
out.
Shit, brother.
so
Oh,
it's a lot of learning, yeah, bro. So we get in
yeah.
there.
We're
And there's something that you said, man, that I really wanted to like double down on is like I think a lot of times it's just natural for us to just think fast, like we want it fast, right? But just everything that's worth like while, especially in investing, it just takes a while. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Or it just takes a large upfront investment. The, a cool part about stocks is that it doesn't take a huge investment, but you might not see a fast or big return,
right,
Mhm.
right? There's stuff like dividend stocks that's like 10% a year. Now, if you put $100 in there for a year, you might only get $10 if
right,
you're thinking small, right? But if you did $100 a month or a week into that account, you could see what that 10% would be. You know what I
right,
mean? Like 100,000, 10% of that is 10,000. If you did get to this $1 million number we're talking about, and you was getting 10% a year in your account, that's 100,000 just on your money.
right,
Like you created another salary on your money, man. So when you think long term and just think about like how to make your money make money, man,
right,
all
right,
like all these things that we're talking about is like life can be life changing
right.
um things for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's so easy. At one point, I thought stocks were so complex. At one point, because I never actually took the time to learn about it. It was just
Hmm.
something like a foreign language, right? Like someone speaking Spanish. But
Yeah,
once you put your mind to it, you start to like understand, it's easier, right? Because when you buy a share, you're just buying ownership in a company,
Yep.
that's
right?
it.
So imagine, right? Most of the time, imagine having ownership in a company with you not having to worry about you creating a company, and that's pretty much what it's like buying a share. When you buy a share, you have ownership in the
Yep.
company. And it doesn't take a lot of work to do. I mean, once you do your research and due diligence, you understand like the overall the fundamentals of the company. Is easier. Every month, you can just click on a button. How many shares and stuff you can do that every month or weekly, or whatever your preference are.
Hmm.
And just
Now,
literally buy shares.
I will
Yeah,
to that point though, and this is something that I learned, in more recent years in investing. Don't overinvest. You know,
right,
don't buy two shares of 100 different companies. Like
right,
that's you're doing too much at that point.
right,
Less is more, and that's something
right.
I'm a firm believer in. Find 10 or less companies that you truly
Believe
like,
in.
that the numbers make sense, and just invest in those companies. That's all you need. Your portfolio doesn't have to be massive. Your
Yeah,
portfolio.
10.
I used to think, I like as a novice, investor, I used to think that like I had to invest in like, like 47 different companies. Like, like I had like, yo, I gotta buy a share of this and buy a share of that. And like, yo, I'm gonna be rich one day, y'all. Like, and it's just like, nah, man, that's not
Nah,
how it works.
that's
That's not how.
I heard somebody say like your stock portfolio is like kids. Like you don't want 100 kids running around. It's hard to keep track on them, like what they doing and
Right.
shit. Like, yo, sit your
Right.
little ass down somewhere. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But if you got like 3 or 5 of them, it's a lot easier to look at and a lot easier to know what's going on with. And um yeah, man, a lot of these companies is like companies we already know, but we make it like Diamond, like you said, we make it seem like it's such a foreign thing, but we understand like, okay, if you started a business yourself, if you started a business, you own 100% of it,
Right.
right? Like if you start a company, you own 100% of it. Now, when you take your company public, other people can own a little piece of it, and that's what buying
Right.
a share of a company is, right? It's really not that crazy to like of a concept to understand. So like a lot of these companies, we know what they are. We know what Apple does. We know what
Right.
Amazon does. We know what Microsoft does. We know what these big companies do. You know what I mean? And you can own a piece of that company for real just by buying a share. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Mhm.
when
Right.
if somebody would have just told me like that when I was in high school, like I'd be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Right.
just never even thought. I just thought, like you said, I thought it was a whole bunch of just
Right.
charts and
Numbers,
just
yeah, charts,
numbers
yeah,
falling
all
from
that.
like the Matrix almost. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
but it's
Right.
really not that crazy. You know what I mean? When you break it down.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And being a shareholder, you there's like minority and majority shareholders. I remember like when I first heard those terms, I was like, I don't know what that sounds like. To DG's point, that sounds like a foreign. But now knowing those things, like a majority shareholder means that you just own more than 50% of it, right? Like
Right.
there's very few majority shareholders out there,
Right.
in the most of us are minority. Even Roaring Kitty owning 9 million shares of a minority shareholder because he doesn't own over 50% of that. But it's little things like that that I just like. It sounds like a foreign language. It sounds like it would have just went way over my head had I like not known these things. And it's just like I think that's just a big thing too. It's just like just figuring it out day by day. It's you don't acquire
Right.
all the knowledge that we have acquired
Right.
or that a lot of these people have acquired overnight, right? These are things that take time. You got to put in the effort, the desire to want to learn,
Right.
and like we said, this is more of a slow burn.
Right.
People
It is.
oftentimes in today's age, people want instant gratification. They want everything now. Right? Like I want to be happy now. I got to have $1 million now. And it's just like, well, as nice as that sounds, that's just not realistic.
Right.
So like the real thing to do is to and invest. Put in the time, the effort, and surround yourself with like-minded people who hold you accountable. And with that being said, I want to give a shout out to all my fellas on here. I want to give a shout out to Marco. Shout out to Marco. I know we were talking about companies earlier. Shout out to Templates. Templates doing big things, man, and only continuing to grow. Um, yeah, we're gonna accomplish good things. Million. It all starts with mindset, right? I think the whole point of this conversation and what we've been like, circling back to very frequently is it all starts with mindset.
Right.
The money is only one aspect of it. We're already mentally wealthy. We're already there.
Right.
Like my mind,
Oh yeah.
we're already there. Like it's just we need the bank accounts to align with that. So like
Right.
once the $1 million is in the bank account, not much is gonna change on mine. And anyone who
Right.
knows that like I'm gonna be still doing the same things that I'm doing now with $1 million in my bank account. I might just be doing more of it. I might be traveling more. I'm gonna be doing a little bit more fine dining and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, my lifestyle is not gonna change a lot. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not frugal. So anyone who knows P knows that P is a frugal one here. Frugal as they come.
There's
That,
3 levels. There's 3 levels on here, man.
that boy is as
I'm
frugal as they come.
I'm level one. I'm level one, frugal, man.
I'm level 2.
Nah, you level 3, bro. Come on.
I'll say 3. Level 3 for sure.
Yeah,
No, it's
I'm
true.
too frugal. You level 127 frugal, bro. Like
We out
that
here.
boy is the opposite of frugal.
No, nothing wrong with that, man. It's all
Nothing
about your
wrong with
strategy,
it.
though. Yeah,
That's
it
what actually.
works. Whatever works
And
for you, right?
and on this point, that's the one thing I just want to ask, and if everybody's in here too, what's the one thing that you do like that you could cut back in spending on?
Hmm.
Like, what's the one thing that you just like you overspend in? Like, it's just like I
Oh
know I do it,
man,
and I know I don't need it, but I be doing that shit.
bro,
Everybody still got like I'm frugal, but we all got our little things
Yeah.
that we do. What's
bro.
what's 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 something for y'all?
I would say shoes, bro. I would say shoes and watches, bro. I spend a lot on shoes.
Yeah.
I don't need a lot of
How many
shoes,
pair?
but for some
How many
reason,
pairs you got?
damn, I don't know.
What size? What size you wear? What size you wear?
Nine and a half, 10. I don't know, bro. I lost count, man. I have way more than I'm doing a lot better, but I feel like I'm moving in the right direction because now it's like I feel like I'm buying just less quality stuff now, so it's less than before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll say that's something for sure I can cut back on for
Yeah.
sure. But I just love shoes. I love to collect them and watches too. So
Yeah.
sometimes I get a little too crazy and excited.
Yeah.
But I always pay myself first though before I make those purchases. By the way, so
That's what's up.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll say so.
I think something that I could cut back on, and it's something that I've been reflecting on a lot in the last couple of weeks because I've been doing a lot of it. They both kind of go hand in hand. Eating out, I could eat out like less, but also like buying rounds. Boy, I'm notorious for buying some rounds, and like when I be getting that tab, bro, I be like, oh like,
Oh
like,
man, come
Hey,
on.
I mean,
I want us to have a good time, but
I
damn,
agree.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'll be seeing that bill come in sometimes, and I'm like, yo, we ain't doing this no more. I
Yeah.
remember, I'll never forget this.
What's the biggest
So
tab? What's the biggest tab you got out?
oh man, biggest tab ever.
That you can remember where you was just like, what the fuck did I just do?
What am I doing wrong?
Uh, I mean, the biggest tab that I probably had recently was like 700, but that was also kind of by choice. But I ain't gonna lie, that hurt. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean,
God
Like,
damn.
it's
Yeah.
fun in the moment once you go home and look at your bank account, like, dang, bro. That's how I feel though
but
when I buy my shoes.
it was
I'm mad.
worth
I'm
it.
like, damn, these are fly. I'm mad, but these are fly.
It was worth it though. But I'll never forget though. We went out to a spot in Manhattan called Mr. Purple. I ordered one round. One. I'm not talking about like we had been drinking all
How many
night.
people?
I,
How many people was
I
there?
think it was like 6 drinks. Like it was 6 people. Like I ordered one round for 6 people. It was $280. I was
No
like,
way.
yo, I was like, whoa.
And one
Bro,
round.
what?
We will not be doing no more of
Hey,
that. There was
what's the name of the spot? So I'll make sure I don't never
Yeah,
go
we
there.
not going.
Miss,
I come out there and we
Mr.
not. So we're
Purple,
not
Mr.
going to Mr.
Purple.
Purple.
Okay, Mr. Purple, we're not doing that.
We're
one
not
Sorry, Mr.
doing
Purple.
that.
one round of 6 drinks, $280,
Would they
bro.
have absinthe in there or something? Like, bro, what? That's
I
insane.
I was hurt, bro. I was hurt. I was like, yo, I was looking at that like, yo, are you sure you gave me like this is mine? Like,
Right.
like
But
That's like
yeah,
$50 a
yeah,
drink, bro.
yeah,
yeah.
That's
I know,
crazy.
See,
I know.
for me, that's why I buy my shoes because when I go out, I don't spend money when I go out because I don't drink, right? So I'm just water, Gatorade. I mean Red Bull. So it's like
Yeah.
20
Wait,
bucks, right?
Your
20
tab
bucks
be
I don't
like,
spend
yeah,
anything.
little baby tabs.
So my tab, I'm like baby when I go out, so which is kind of cool. You
yeah,
gotta be
Yeah,
able to find ways to like cut out in other
yeah.
areas if you're
yeah.
gonna be spending more in
But
other areas. So yeah.
that's my advice though. Like, it's for sure like cutting back on eating out and buying rounds, man. Like that's something that I've learned. I'm like, yo, I need to relax. Go ahead, get my eyes down some.
What about you, Ramon? Oh, strippers. I'm just kidding.
Man, I love the strip. Nah, man. Mine is I got a I got a Mirror Z, man. It's either it's I got a Mirror Z, man. It's like I'm real like I said I consider myself a frugal dude, man. But
Right.
when I'm out, I'm just not.
Yeah. You're just
That's and
living life.
I don't necessarily feel like it's a bad thing,
It's
but
not.
like but it's just, I be wanting to, like, while I'm out, I be wanting to just have a good time, and just naturally I be wanting people around me. I think that's just it's the want people around you to win mentality almost.
Right.
So it's just naturally I want people to have a good time, man. Hey,
Right.
what's y'all? Okay, let me get 5 of what I'm getting. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You want one
Right.
too? Yeah, let's make it 6. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like naturally when I'm out, I do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's definitely something that you can cut out because you don't have to do
Yeah.
it. Like
I'm
you
not.
don't.
I was gonna
It's
say
not
you
like
don't have
something
to
you
cut it
have to
out. You don't have
do.
to cut it. You
You know what
have
I'm
to. You
saying? But
have to.
like, you know what I mean? But it's something natural. Something natural in me that
You're a
I
giver,
do
bro.
that.
You're a giver. You just care. Like you want. I feel like you're just a giver. Like you just want to make
Yeah,
sure your people around you are good.
I
So,
want to make sure
but I mean, once you like,
people's
if you're
having
not
it.
doing
Yeah,
it every week, every weekend, I would say that's fine. I would
that's a
say
fact.
so.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
fact. And I think all of what we said is fine.
Yeah.
Like, you want to look good. You want to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
we want people to have a good time, and it's all fine, you know what I'm saying? But that's something that I
Right.
could be a little more mindful when I'm doing it. Like, I don't need,
Fact.
you
I
know what I
agree.
mean,
I
to
agree.
go 5 rounds, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's true. Yeah.
You
We
know
don't
what I
need that
mean?
much
So,
alcohol. Yeah. 100%.
yeah, you know
I
what I
agree.
mean?
I agree.
So it's just, all in moderation,
Yeah.
and I
I
would
agree,
say,
bro.
I would say trips, but I need to do that.
Oh yeah, you can't cut
I
down.
need to
You
do
can't cut
that, you
back
know what I
on
mean?
the.
So,
One thing I'm also learning, bro, just finding ways to just make more money, right? Instead of like, because that was one of my
that's a
mindset,
fact.
right? Just like I want to be more of like an abundance mindset. If I know I love Starbucks, if I want to drink coffee every single day and it's gonna cost me $4, I just gotta find a way to make $8 a day, right? If I want to
Yep.
drink coffee every day. And
Yep.
for me, I think that's that mindset I'm getting in. Instead of like trying to like cut back, why not just find like create more
Scale
abundance
up.
so I can like enjoy what I want when I want, and I can still get that coffee every day, but find ways to like someone else is paying for my
Yep.
coffee.
Hmm.
I'm not paying for my coffee out of my pocket. And for me lately, that's that mindset I'm trying to get into, bro. Like that abundance mindset, find ways to like create more. There's nothing wrong to cut back, but if I want to, I like to enjoy life a little bit. You know, like it's
Hmm.
cool. Yeah, if I enjoy Netflix, I don't need to cut that out from my life. I just need to find ways to just make extra $20 a month,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
can still
that's
enjoy
a
my
fact.
Netflix. So that's the mindset I'm
Yeah.
getting into. Those are things I'm trying to create going
And
forward.
that's the mindset that I think a lot of people in New York have is like, because obviously New York is one of the most expensive places to live, right? But I think a lot of people approach it like, well, yeah, it's expensive, but that just means I got to make more money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coming, it's approaching it from that mindset perspective. Like, my rent being 2,000 a month, that hurts, but it's just like, like that just means I got to make more money. I just got to get to it
right,
more, and I think that is the mentality of a lot of New Yorkers. Like, like, I know it's the hustle and bustle, but it's just like, I think people do function from that perspective of just like, I just got to get it,
right,
so I think that's a big aspect
Fact.
of New York and what makes it what it is.
right. Yeah, because saving is good to save, don't get me wrong, but I feel like saving is not really gonna get you there. You gotta invest, you gotta find ways to create more money. Yeah, it's always
That's
good.
a
Like
fact.
you can always budget. It's always great to budget. Don't get me wrong. Budget, figure out ways that you can cut down expensive, but also figure out ways that you can make more money so you can like enjoy. If you're someone who likes certain things, no need to like deprive yourself because of $5 a month.
Yeah.
Just find ways to like make that
Make
extra $5. Sell a
Give them
course,
extra
learn
5.
something, like train somebody, like gain like a knowledge or whatever, that you can be able to like get that money a month and be able to live that life that you want. Because I
Yeah,
believe life is short,
yeah,
right? So at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that my experience here is great and it's like the
Hmm.
life I want to live. Like I want to make sure I'm not struggling. So I'm being cognizant of the decision I'm making financially. I'm not gonna go on a shopping spree when I know I don't have money in my bank account and accumulate more money debt on my credit card. So it's all about just being smart, right? Being smart with your money, making sure you like just enjoying the fruit of your labor sometimes.
yep,
Because we work
And
hard
like
sometimes. It's
you
good to
said a
like
big point, man. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off,
go
but you
ahead, go
said like
ahead.
enjoy stuff that you like. Like
Right,
that's I think that's a huge piece. Is a lot of people be getting shit that they don't even necessarily like just to
right,
look a certain way. You
right.
know what I mean? But if you like the
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
figure out what you know what I'm saying. You can make this shit happen. You know
right,
what I mean? But the worst thing you could really do is be spending money on things you don't
right,
even like
right,
just because you want to look a certain way to
right,
people, man. When you cut that mindset of just like I need to impress people out,
right.
that's a big switch.
I agree.
Then it's everything
Agree.
you want to do is really like it's because I actually want to do this shit or I like that shit or I
Right,
want to get the hat. I just, you know what I'm saying? I
right,
like it. You know what I mean?
right,
Not because
right,
I think they're gonna like
right,
it. They're gonna like me because I'm in it.
right,
I'm cool with who I am.
right.
So I don't need certain things. I want it. You know what I
Right,
mean? I like it. You know what I mean?
right.
So that's big, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Once you're not putting yourself in debt, once you're not buying things that you can't afford, you're not drowning in debt. Because most of the stuff, I think we mentioned this earlier, right? House poor, right? Most of the you get people, some people like buy a very big house with a huge mortgage and have an expensive car, and now they're making good money every month. But however, it's like you have a cup that has a hole in it, and then whatever money you make, you just like go through that hole.
Yep.
You're not seeing anything, even though the money coming, the revenue coming in is great. But overall, your overall operating expenses is so much more that you're in the red. It's
Yep.
negative. So most of the time, it's like being cognizant
Yep.
of that,
Yep.
making sure that you live a adequate lifestyle in the sense that you have enough money to cover up all your expenses and you have leftovers. And
Yep.
that money leftovers you can invest, save. But you see a lot of people nowadays with social media, we all want to flaunt, right? So people just buying stuff. Because I know this one, a friend had a friend who would go on vacation, Dubai, travel all over the world, bro. And she was just spending, but she would come home and call her friend, hey, can you help me pay my rent money this month? Then she was just in Dubai. And maybe like now
That's
you spend
wild.
like
That's
That's insane. That's
that's,
insane.
and that's
that's crazy.
insanity right there. That's the things I'm talking about. Why you on vacation spending all that money and then coming home, you don't have money to like pay your rent, your phone
Yeah.
bill, you gotta call someone else to like borrow you money. That's being irresponsible in my opinion.
Yeah.
But if you can go to Dubai, do all that thing and come home, you're good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's where you
Go
should
to the
be.
buy then.
That
I'll meet
go.
you there.
That's it.
I'll meet you there. You
Rich
know.
friends. Shout out to the rich friends out in Dubai.
That's how it should
What's up?
be.
Yeah. And a big a big thing of what I take away from what you're saying is priorities, right? I think
Fact,
like you just got to have your priorities in check.
right,
Just knowing, you know, I don't need to be spending this money on these shoes or that cologne or this. Like I don't need to be in Dubai. I need to be paying my rent, kind of
fact,
thing.
for
Like
real.
like but if you find yourself in a very abundant position and you want to do those things, absolutely. But I think a big piece of having abundance is you already have your priorities in check.
Right,
And so I think like um, when you prioritize, and to Pete's point, you're not trying to please anybody else. You're making your own plan and you're executing it. You should reward yourself, kind of thing. So like oftentimes with abundance comes just priority because you already had it in check.
right,
So
That's a fact.
right. All right. I think we got 15 more
All right,
minutes
man.
before we wrap this up.
I think this is a good plot. Good,
Yeah, I
good,
think
good.
this is a good spot, man. What's so let's leave on this note, man. What's like one piece of investment advice that you give anybody watching?
Good question.
I'll say, man, for me, for sure, before you invest, make sure that all your credit cards and all those things are interest bearing or paid up first. Because I used to do it before. It doesn't make sense to invest $500 a month when you have a credit card that's you paid interest like $150 a month or $80 a month. Make sure that you take care of that first before you start to invest. And when it comes to investing, my advice is it's long term, right? Look at investment as like money that you need, money that you don't need right now, something that you need in the next 5, 10 years. If you're saving for your wedding, if your wedding is next year, don't invest your wedding money because you might need that next year. And the market might not be good next year. The market might be up right now, but next year everything could be down. Who knows? So make sure whatever money that you're investing in the market, real estate, stocks, you are comfortable with losing that amount. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm comfortable losing my entire portfolio, to be honest. If worse happens, I can sleep at night. I'm not gonna go and jump off a bridge, So make sure that whatever amount you're investing in the market or whatever, you're okay with losing that amount because investment comes with risk, and that's a possibility that you could lose all that amount. That's my advice
That's
for
fire.
sure.
That's fire.
Yeah. DG definitely took mine. I was gonna definitely say that's only what you feel comfortable losing. Um, but I think the word of advice that I would give into investing is it's great to have equity and to have gains and stuff like that, but you can only really see the real fruits of your investments if you sell. And so don't be afraid to sell and get out of the play. Like I
Right,
think oftentimes people get stuck holding a bag and hold on too long. Um, and off, like something that I've really been wrapping my mind around recently is selling on the way up. Like you may not sell at the top, and that's fine. Like there was more money to be made, but at the end of the day, like I still won, kind of thing. And so
Right.
um, the only way that you really see the fruits of that, right, is if you sell. Like we can all be there, like, yo, bro, I was up like $4,000 and now I'm down, two, and it's just like, well,
Didn't sell.
if
Yeah.
you know would have sold, like, and it's just that's the thing. It's just like, a lot of people get into the habit of just holding on too long, and that's something that I've really had to rewire my mind around,
Right.
especially just selling on the way up. Like it's okay. Like I said, you may not see those exponential gains that some people do. Like some people winning like 4,000% on one play, stuff like
Right.
that. Crazy, right? Like a prime example is Roaring Kitty. I'm sorry, I don't have the balls that Roaring Kitty does. Like I'm not gonna be holding. I'm not gonna be sitting there holding, through
GameStop. Yeah.
now. Like I'm sorry, like bro, I would probably tapped out at $1,000,000. I would be like, all right, I'm gonna head out. Like I'm gonna go ahead and
And feel
take
good
this
about
and
yourself.
feel great,
Right.
too. More money to be made, yeah. But I secured the bag. I think that's a big thing. Is just understanding that in order to really see the fruits of your investment and whatnot, is you have to sell at some point.
Man, y'all had some fire points, brother. Um,
Shit.
I just do kind of like a basic look, like just the basics of it is like there's a big difference between gambling and investing.
Right.
I think
Hmm.
Fact.
that's a big thing, man. And pay attention on who you're getting your investment advice from. Like the
Right.
easiest way to do it is to ask them like, are they invested in what they're telling
Right.
you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
Right.
is it working for them? But gambling and investing is there's a big difference in it. And a lot of times what the difference is when you invest, you at least own something. Right?
Right.
Like if you gamble or you say like this team's gonna beat that team, if the team loses, you're
Done.
out your money, right?
Yeah,
Right.
But like if we said, like if you buy a share of a company, no matter what the price is of the share, you still own the share of that company, man. So there's a difference in between investing and gambling, man. And
Right.
then a small other piece to this is like what Z was saying, like, like sell on the way up. If you taking a hit on something that you don't feel comfortable taking, you can sell out of that play too. Like small
Right.
losses make bosses.
Right.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You can use a stop loss and the best way to not lose money is to not lose money, man. So,
Right.
you know, figure out don't be, especially when you're in options and different types of things
Right.
that can go to zero, don't always be letting your shit go to
yeah.
zero, man. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And
Because there's
and
always another play. There's always another play to get into.
and to add to that, don't be married to any stocks, bro. Don't get married to any stocks. Right. Be for the streets. Not just don't get married to any stocks. Because like
Respectively,
Ramon
small
said,
roster. Get a small
yeah,
roster
get a smart
streak though.
roster.
I
You
was
know
gonna
what I'm
Right.
saying?
Exactly.
get a
Get
small.
you a couple side chicks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If you see something like Ramon said is not working so good, don't be attached to it. Get out of it. Try to figure out something out. Figure something else out there because there's more, man. It's not just one stock just gonna perform and give you that gain. It's always more when
Yeah,
it comes
That's
to
a fact.
investment. And also want to add, this is not financial advice. This is just something that we do and implement in our life just for educational purpose.
yep.
So don't be like
Absolutely.
Diamond Ramon said,
They
Z
said,
said.
man, hey, man, don't sue the Spot Network, man. We ain't got it.
We just out here having fun. Just, those are things that we're doing,
Yeah,
strategies we are implementing in our lives, and we're seeing results. So we just want to share it.
facts, man.
Yep.
And for everybody on here, man, if you're still on here, we appreciate you for rocking with us.
Yep.
Make sure to follow the Spot Network on
Yep.
Instagram and especially on YouTube, man. Shout out to the YouTube's growing faster than the Instagram, man.
Right,
So
right,
that's where we post all the full versions of all these long form clips. And we also, me and Z been doing like weekly mixes on there,
right.
DJ mixes, man. So make sure y'all tap in with us on YouTube, man. We're gonna have a lot of dope content, man.
I also want to talk
And
about the apparel.
absolutely, man. Y'all see the hat, y'all see the shirt, man. That's the only
Yeah,
thing I'm rocking on here from
That's it.
here on
yeah.
out, man. Music is everything. Everything is music apparel. coming very, very, very soon, man. You see it's
Pretty
out, but y'all have the link for
fun.
y'all soon. So if y'all interested in, you know what I'm saying,
Supporting.
supporting the brand, rocking with us, man. You
Sure.
see how clean that shit is,
Heck
boy.
yeah.
I looked at that shit a couple times on the episode, like, man, that's cleaner than my other
Heck,
hats. You know what I'm saying?
heck,
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna have
So
to get mine out here pretty soon. No more Nikes. It's
come
gonna
on,
be the
man.
spot. It's gonna be the
I
spot
need
over here pretty soon.
a 6-pack of all kind of different flavors. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So definitely support the Spot Network, man, and tap in with us. Get the apparel coming soon, man.
yep.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, everybody. We appreciate
All
y'all.
right, y'all.
All right, fellas.
Have a good night.
Yes, sir.